over every form for free airplay at gmail.com. That's free airplay at gmail.com. Don't have somebody send them $100, $200, $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 to get your record played. That's what they're scared. So don't fall for their scale. Because if you fall for their scale, you're their fool. So DNAradio.net. Submit your music for free.
What up, Jaggin?
Free.
You live, bro?
Yeah, I'm live on Facebook, and yeah, that's
Both live. How's the head above you?
perfect.
Not no crazy space.
Yep.
This is the platform. DNAradio.net. This is the platform. DNAradio.net. So exclusive. Free airplay at gmail.com.
Yo, this is boy John Key from Nigeria. I'm listening to DNA show live on DNAradio.net.
Michael, what up, Michael?
Check out my new EP about the other me. Now I'm available on the iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, and all the streaming platforms right more. Peace.
Ready, Rock?
One more song.
One more?
Mm-hmm. Takesha White, what's going on, Takesha? What up, Nathaniel?
You have any song titles you want to play? Anything? For the rest of the show?
Not in particular.
Okay.
Not yet. I gotta actually hear what's going on today. Cause I've been in the cave somewhere just lying dormant.
Scared you the thing over your mouth and all wrapped up in.
Oh no, not that. I just think of an animal of a bear just hibernating in the cave. That's me.
It is so,
What up, Ray Clay? What up, Andre?
It is so hard to hear those words from you. When you're fine, beautiful, and gorgeous like you. I can see if you were 500 pounds.
What up, Stevie?
You know what I'm saying?
But you don't know how life affects us all. That remember, we're not all in the same continuum. That we all looking for the same thing to happen and happy with how things are currently transgressing.
So I'm talking about something.
Yeah, it's just that you don't know how hard life is, and it's different for each and every one of us as to how things progress, and seeing things may not resonate with certain people that they can partake in some of their festivities. Like, I'm just not happy with certain ways with how life is going. And rather than complain about it, I just remove myself from the situation.
That's a story, nigga.
Unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
To be continued.
So what's good, Facebook? What's good, YouTube? What up, Instagram? And what up, Radioland? Everybody out there tuning in, you already know DNA Radio is the best #1 radio station across the world. What up, Cortez?
Is there something behind all these tattoos I don't know about? on the street?
I think every tattoo has certain meanings. It's just that I guess depending on what you're looking for and what you want it to symbolize. And if you look it up, certain ones have certain meaning beyond what you know if you created one on your own.
But they're looking ridiculous. They just go overboard. Like Odell Beckham, fine as he is, he went overboard. Too many tattoos, in my opinion. Too many. Look at Little Wayne. Look at Little Wayne over there on YouTube. There's too many.
Chilling, Cartace. Long time no see. I hope they're treating you good down there in your city, man. It's definitely good. You know, I've been checking out some of your posts I've seen recently too.
Yo, what's poppin'? Before we walk up, representing that contraband music group all day, every day. I'm tuning in, checking in, and I'm listening to DNAradio.net, the earliest psychotic internet radio station in the world. That is
What up, Kenny?
You're so bad. It's DNA.
Renard, what up, Renard?
And now another witness. Believe me when I say, you know how I know?
Right?
Mm-hmm. Before I read my opening statement, you want me to read this first, or?
Afterwards.
All right.
So just remind him, that's all, remind him.
Got you.
Therefore, we respectfully ask everyone to be mindful of what you say and how you say it.
It's a real talk.
After this. So you open and then remind him. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yo, what's good? What's good? What's going on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and of course, people around the world tuning into our radio station. This is DNAradio.net presents BU and BU Nation with your host, Rockman. Again, BU is a live interactive radio program for our brothers and sisters within our same gender loving community, or SGL, or LGBTQ community. Be you and always be true to thyself. To be true to yourself takes courage. It requires you to be introspective, sincere, open-minded, and fair. It does not mean that you are inconsiderate or disrespectful of others. It means that you will not let others define you or make decisions for you that you should make for yourself. BU on DNAradio.net is a radio program to help support and uplift our brothers and sisters within our same gender loving community and our download communities. We are human beings who have a life, not a so-called lifestyle. BU is not a radio program that gives away any of our same gender loving or download intimate secrets within our community or anything of that nature. So please understand, we at BU are not trying to be a so-called superhead tell-all program. Furthermore, BU is not a gossip type of program such as TMZ, Page 6, Wendy Williams, etc. We, the BU and BUNation.net staff, team, and family comes to you with love and support. Again, I am your host, Rockman. All right, just let me give you guys a friendly reminder. Our show's audio and sound quality is much clearer and sound much better if you tune in to us. You tune into us on the radio right now at DNAradio.net. That's DNAradio.net, all around the world. Again, thank you for your support. This is Rockman. All right. Now this one I'm kind of like snowballing, so I'm hoping to get a little feedback. Last week I missed everybody. We had Labor Day festivities, and our city was actually pretty empty, but I'm not going to tell you why. But other than that, I'm happy to be back. I'm actually looking forward to fall season a little bit. Summer had to come to an end, but hopefully 2020 has better prospects waiting for us in the horizon. But anyway, what up, Toya Brown? But anyway, hopefully I could empower as many minds and challenge people to live better. Today I want to talk about unity, brotherhood, perspectives, perceptions, comfortability, and I have a bonus one, but I'm going to tackle some of these to see what you know each thing mean because every other people have different perspectives as to what these particular subjects may mean and entail. And again, you would think that something like this wouldn't exist within our community. But again, let me give you guys the number so that you can chime in any given time. You got to type in your comments, and I'll definitely see them. Whether I see them on my page or I see them on any lead. But again, that number is 917-727-8020. Again, that number is 917-727-8020. Remember, our show is a dialogue, not a monologue. Let us hear your live input and comments, please. Um, but I'm gonna ask some of my friends and people who respect some of the things that I do here. Speaking on radio on our behalf, being a voice. What does unity mean to you? What does brotherhood mean to you? What does that mean pertaining to our community of same gender loving or LGBTQ? You would think that we would have a better foot on it to have a better understanding as to the different perspectives, the different ways that people want to live their life, and the different ways that represent them as how they feel, what this life or walk of life actually means for them. Again, we all have different meanings and ways as to what draws us to, I guess you could say, the focal point of what it is to be same gender loving. Earlier on my way here to the studio, I actually seen something quite interesting. I saw two, yeah, I'm gonna say it like this, two sexy females, and they were young. They were younger than me. Um, but the way that they had each other, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little bit envious, like because they had it like that, and I'm like, wow, like, and they both were my type when it comes to female. But unfortunately, I like maturity. But whatever they had, it was something along the lines that you don't often see, whether you see two males or two females who are open with their sexuality, they feel comfortable, and of course they're out there as a team representing one another.
Same gender loving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
No, and they compliment each other. It was just so natural. Like if anybody wanted to infringe or say something, they had no right. It was just like leave them be. They were definitely right. It's like, and it goes to show you that like when the right people find each other, and I see this a lot, especially in the heterosexual community. For those who are not comfortable with their sexuality, they tend to take offense whether they see other people doing it and has nothing to do with them, or if it's directed towards them.
Are you that how do you say? Are you that open where you could have spoken to them and invited them to a future show? And said, "Oh, I produced a show for Same Gender Loving." Blah 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 blah.
I probably could have, but I'm gonna be honest. I kind of ran into the situation too because like one of them happened. There was a seat right next to me that was open, and one of them was able to sit down. The other one, she kind of stood up, and it's funny because the way we weren't sardine packed, but we were close enough. But she kept trying to like the one who was standing up. She kept trying to like budge my leg over so her leg could like rub on the other girl's leg, and I'm like, I'm not moving. Like I'm comfortable. I mean, I'm tall. I got a lot of legs, so I'm not gonna move comfortable. So unless you made it that clear, like, hey, I wouldn't mind giving up my seat. But then y'all young girls, like, I can see if you was like an old lady, I'll give up my seat. But like, no, I'm coming from Brooklyn to Harlem, and I was fortunate enough to get a seat, and I'm not giving up my seat. Like, nah. So y'all could play hanky panky, like, nah.
Was there enough room for them to sit on top of each other, like one side?
No, and I don't think they wanted to do it in a packed train like that either.
Oh, okay.
But eventually it happened where a seat was given up and they was able to do their little thing. But this just the energy and the ambiance that they exhibit, it was something like why can't we have a lot of that going in our community? I mean, I'm not saying we don't. It's just that it's not a lot of it going around to be good examples. And that would be my bonus topic about what is a good example to you.
I don't want to mess up your schedule and agenda over there, but approximately how old was it? You have to be exact.
If I had to take a guess, I was like maybe 21, 22.
So when you were 21 or 22, were you free within yourself to?
Nah, I was still trying to put things together, and basically, I was never ashamed of my sexual orientation or my sexuality. It was more so to avoid the stigma and the stereotypes that's associated with it. Since I don't fit the bill, the only bill I could say is I find men attractive.
So would that be society throwing those stigmas at you?
Well, not even just as much as society. I was really more concerned with my close friends and family members who they may not have been abreast or educated to understand what is homosexuality, what is same gender loving, what is LGBTQ. You know, and not just that. Um, like I stated before in one of my shows, I said, when you tell people you're bisexual, you might as well just say you're gay because they don't believe in, you know, the hierarchy of learning what it is, you know, for those type of individuals and what it means to them. They rather just say what comes off at the top of their head about what they feel about it if they were to pick the choices that I've chose.
So when you hear the term bi-curious, how do you define that without us going off your topics in the video?
To me, bi-curious means that, like, I believe to some extent, and that's only if you choose to act upon it, whether you're male or female, I believe to some extent, we all have that curiosity. Some of us will either act upon it or some of us know where we stand and say, hey, look, this isn't for me. Meaning that you don't have to try it to figure out that, oh, this isn't for me type, you know. But whatever comes natural is basically about following your natural instincts about things. But the curious part is basically about for those who figure like, what would be it? You know, and they could be a million questions. They could just think about like, what do other men or women get from messing with the same gender? You know, that individual may not find their way or, you know, that road to you know to go down there to find the answer. But again, to each his own. It depends on how serious it is to you, I guess.
One more question before I let you agenda. Now,
What up, Monique?
So Rockman, can you be bi-curious only once? Like you're only a virgin once, right?
Mm.
So can you be a bi-curious individual just one time, and that second time is no longer bi-curious?
It's hard to say. I mean, again, I can't speak for other people. I guess in my opinion, I guess it entirely is contrived of the individual dealing with that.
But you can only be a virgin once, right?
Well, yeah, but if you let's just say you thought about it, then you didn't, then you think about it again. There's no different than having a fantasy. Sometimes even fantasies of girls I used to have, I don't have fantasies about them. That was I wouldn't say it was a one shot deal. It was just like once I realized it wasn't going to go nowhere, I just put it in a certain place, you know.
So going back to the next to last question, right? So going back to those cute, sexy lesbians you saw in the subway in their 20s. So are you saying that if you were in your 20s today with the knowledge you know today, would you feel free to embrace your partner, your lover, your significant other, or whatever you want to call it, right? I don't like that term significant other. I'll just say your partner. If you're in your 20s, would you and your partner feel free enough in New York City 2020 to embrace each other openly without caring about society?
What up, Cameron? Well, public display of affection to me is not.
You made it sound so simple. Public display.
Because that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I couldn't get the words right.
Public display of affection.
I'm going around in circles trying to figure out the term. You just said it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it took a long while, but yeah, I got comfortable. I'm not gonna go out of my way and do it. You know what I'm saying? But if I feel the moment comes up and I feel it at that moment in time, I'm gonna act upon it. I mean, but I'm not gonna do it in a way where let me do it in a way where it makes other people comfortable. No, I'm gonna do it in a way that represents who I am and who that person is that I'm with.
Make other people comfortable or uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
But just suppose you guys are just.
But
if
they see us, they're gonna see two men. They're gonna see two dudes, two niggas, and they're not gonna see two girls or two sissies or two homos. They ain't gonna see none of that stuff. They're gonna see.
Well, coming from you, and if the individuals were feminine, sissies, obviously gay, that's their thing.
Yeah.
So you're not throwing stones. You're just saying that's not your thing.
Yes, I don't represent myself, and that's not what I want to put out there. That's my representation, and you know, and it's not that it's being ashamed. That's just like no different than if you see me, you're gonna see me in sporty, athletic kind of wear, and barely you'll see me dressed like formal. You know what I'm saying? But like I do have my formal days where but depending on the occasion, will determine how long I want to stay in that attire versus let me put on my karate gi and start kicking some ass.
Would you wear yellow boxer briefs?
No.
Why not?
Yellow is definitely not my color.
Okay. How about sexy red?
Yeah, red compliments me. Yeah.
Okay. Back to your show.
Alrighty. Again, all right. My first question is, what does unity mean to you? And I want to ask different types of people. You know, whether they identify as masculine, feminine, what's the other word? I hate using terms and labels to describe, but and in the LGBTQ they have this title called Femme Queen, Butch Queen, and all that other crazy stuff. You know, I want to know the mindset and the perspectives of what these individuals who identify as such, what do they think of when it comes to unity, brotherhood, perceptions, comfortability, and perspectives. So how you gauge people and how you see yourself. What up, Terrence? You know, for me, unity means the accepting of other people's walk and what they choose, even though that's not a choice you would choose. And it represents closeness, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that other people want to have different ideas. Again, we all live on this planet called Earth. We all share this, you know, whether we share with other human beings or other animals, plants, trees, the environment. What up, Garrick? But at the end of the day, like I said, as human beings, we live like what? A short 80, 90, maybe even 100 at best, you know, 100 years. And, you know, with the time we spend amongst each other, what can we learn? What can we say that we brought to try to make humanity better? You know, I was told from history that, you know, especially as, you know, what they say, African descent or just regular, you know, us as black people. And I'm not trying to make this about that, but basically, like I said, if you think about it, you know, other communities and other walks in life, ethnicities, they seem to kind of, you know, have what up, famous. They seem to have it, you know, on lock that they can do things, work together, even understand things, even if it's not really, you know, their walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand if you want to move this way. Just because I won't choose that in my personal life doesn't mean that I can't take the liberty to understand where that person's coming from, where their perspective is. And a lot of us, I realize in our community, we tend to look down upon things. What up, Jabari? All right. We tend to look down upon things that, you know, doesn't match up or is equatable to what we feel is, you know, necessary within our lives. And again, everybody, from what I've learned, from what I've experienced, we're all the we're all the star of our show. We're all the center of our universe, and everything pretty much flows and revolves around us. But we seem to forget the other people who are just as important. And I just find it funny how other people try to use their ways of how they see what works for them to try to be the template that works for everybody else. And again, I like using this saying: "What you eat doesn't make me shit." You know, I mean, if you like it, that's cool. You know, more power to you. But I'm going to follow something else. That's not where my heart is and where I feel naturally, where I resonate, where I exist. Brotherhood is for me people who share a true bond, a true connection of, you know, being together, whether they grew up or they actually, you know, spent, you know, significant amount of time. What up, Angel? Whether they spend, you know, a significant amount of time, you know, dealing with each other to see who they are. Like I said, like I give a lot of credibility and I have a lot of pride for the people that was in my life from the time I was, you know, a young kid to who I am today. You know, they became a very good support system to help me understand this thing called life. All right, Garrett says it seems that way because folks aren't a part of those communities, but trust, they're just as divided as black gays. That's a pretty interesting saying, Garrick, and I would say I pretty much agree with you 1,000%. Like, you know, sometimes I even break it down to the point that a lot of us tend to be cliquish, and there's nothing wrong with okay, you resonate with this because you're not just because of where you identify, but that's where you feel more comfortable. And like, and I hate to use animals as an analogy for this, but like a group of ducks are gonna hang out with a group of ducks, not the wolf pack. You know, a group of wolves are with a group of wolves. But you know, when we tend to separate ourselves and what up, Bernice? And we tend to, you know, out with the crew or the crowd that's more that we feel more is associable towards, you know, our goals and our ideals of who we are as people. We tend to forget other, you know, prospects and other aspects of how other people live lives. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. Yeah, I do my best to try to, you know, put it out there so people can have a better understanding and know that there's a world out there. There's another world out there of people doing their own thing. And like I said, life is a beautiful thing. It's always happening, and it's just a shame that most people would choose to not see it for what it is versus, you know, the essence of like, hey, you know, that's good that this person can see that, you know, and I take great pride and joy of, you know, seeing other people enjoy aspects in life, even if it's not something I would partake. Like, I'm not a fan of tennis, but guess what? I watch it. I watch it because why to me is a performance of people. You know, I look at it like no different. Tennis could be played with words. Like when somebody could feed off you and they volley it back and forth, and you know that's like a good dialogue, good dialect, good communication skills, or better yet, a good debate. You know, a good debate is only fathomable when it's, you know, it's a back and forth when you can exchange ideas and see different perspectives. What up, Calvin Davis? All right. Okay. Cameron Curry says, so much separation and judgment is perpetuated throughout the LGBTQ community. It does not allow people to fully express who they are. People look for safe havens in the gay community, but we tend to fall short of supporting one another. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Yes, and because of that factor, of like I said, okay, you might identify and want to do this and walk this, you know, form of life. Like I tell it, you know, what I said this in one of my other blogs. Um, I might not be for certain things and so certain cultural things that exist within our LGBTQ or our same gender loving community, but that doesn't mean nonetheless that I'm not fighting for the same cause as to your freedom to exist, your freedom to choose who you want as a companion, who you feel like you want to pursue in the realm of love, who you want to share this life journey with. Nobody has the right, humanly possible, to take that from you. You know, God gave us the world that we can make it whatever we want. We're creators, and it's what you create. And I believe love, intimacy, romance, passion is something I feel like as long as you're not shared with like no animals or no, you know, inanimate object, like what's, you know, what's the cause of, you know, what's bad about that? All right, Cameron, due to differences in how we choose or to express ourselves. That's another pretty interesting asset or aspect to look at. Yes, because we're so diverse and eclectic within our LGBTQ community, um, we tend to block out other people's ideas, like as if we don't want them to exist and we don't want them to evolve and grow. But like I said, they've been growing with us ever since, you know, I guess you could say since ancient times when this was a thing. And like I'll bring up this thing about ancient times, from whether they're Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, back in those times in the ancient civilization, they did things, you know, like arenas and stuff. You know what I'm saying? The fight, you know, they thought about, oh, glory to the gods who's watching them as far as them being warriors and, you know, certain cultures and doing things that's pleasing to the higher powers that's above us. Yeah, we do, Calvin. You're absolutely right. But within that, I said that to say that they say this: it's humanly possible. We all like the epitome of health, whether it's physical or mental or even spiritual. Then we also like the physical aspects of somebody who takes care of themselves. They're fit. They're energetic. They have life. You know, they're full of energy. You know, you know what I'm saying. And they have intelligence. You know what I'm saying. Like I, for one, I like performances. So somebody could kind of move good and and rock a little bit. Hey, like why not? Like you know, I like things that feel natural. And if it's not a natural feel, I feel like, you know, what's the point? But back to the subject at hand. It's it's a shame that as close as we are in our, you know, community. What up, Elder E Chris? Um, again, do we really feel free within our community? Are we really free amongst each other, let alone what we're trying to showcase with, you know, society or the heterosexual community? Like I said, one of my main purposes for being up on here talking live on the internet and on the radio is to spread education, to help people understand the difference about things. Like, hey, look, it doesn't have to be your walk, you know what I'm saying? But choose to understand why is that person or that individual's, you know, way of life. You know what I'm saying? Like doing that, you're helping them understand struggles. Because as from what I've heard, I had to talk with a buddy the other night. He told me that the reason why some of the more outlandishly gay individuals would, disrespect, certain heterosexual people because we've been oppressed with so much. And the only reason I say we, because I'm talking about people who happen to like the same gender, not people who care about the culture, the cultural diversity of, being a homosexual or being an LGBTQ. Like I said, you could be those without wanting to dive, dive knee deep into the culture. But to some degree, I would say the culture could be something, and you should, for those of us who exist within the community, yeah, there's nothing wrong with educating yourself, empowering yourself, learning about history and things. Like I said, one of the things I do like about the history, I did like this story about, the Stonewall and whatnot. I don't know too much. I just heard, and no, Calvin, it took me a long time, because trust me, I wasn't as open as I was about it. But for me, living life and wanting to be, and I consider myself a natural force of nature, like, I'm not going to live suppressed or live under the influence of what other people's opinions about something they know little to nothing about dictate or rule how I should live my life. Like I said, I got tired of hiding in the shadows because I was hiding from something that didn't represent me. And like I said, love it or hate it, I chose to embrace it and say, I don't give a fuck what other people think. Like, at the end of the day, it's not their life. It's not what they have to do to, I wouldn't call it a struggle, but more or less wrestle with the idea of, hey, I just wanted to make my probability a lot better for finding somebody who I could actually share a connection with. The women that I often find attractive, they're not really on that perspective like that. And unfortunately, I don't believe in settling. I feel like if I was heterosexual and dealing with only women, and women my only choice, my only outlet, I would be a miserable fuck. And that's only because I would have to be something I'm not to get something I want. And I don't believe that. If I have to lose myself in the process, then it's not worth it. But let's see what the okay, Garrick says, before folks can answer the question of if they feel free to be who they are within our community, we must first liberate ourselves to be who we are. Absolutely. Absolutely, Garrick. Yeah, absolutely 1,000% correct on that. Calvin Davis says, it depends upon where you live at also. True indeed. He also says New York City is very open. I never had a problem. Well, Atlanta's pretty open, and from what I've learned from living in Philadelphia, I've only lived in Philadelphia for 3 years, and they don't call it the city of brotherly love for nothing. But I think we could have had that title, but no, we can't have it all. We have the Big Apple, we have the city that never sleeps, and we have so many others. But again, like I said, to feel free. When are we going to step out to be free amongst ourselves within our community? Because I'm gonna say it like this: we don't have to answer to nobody. We don't have to do anything to prove people, because we have every right to exist and do the things we want to do humanly possible, no different than any other human being in existence. But I only said that to say this: we seem to only respect things when we see things don't fit our way of critiquing or stereotyping or labeling, saying that this is what this is. Okay, we can say this is what this is, and then eventually, just think about it like this: we wouldn't have dogs and cats as pets because they used to be wild animals before we domesticated them. Now let that sink in your head. Now I said that to say this again: live and let live. It may not be a choice for you. You may not see a reason why you can exist on that continuum, but you shouldn't stop the next man or woman from existing. And as it painful as it seems to me, I would say this too. It seems like society is, how would I say, they celebrate the idea of two women getting together, and but yet they get ridiculed no different than two men, dealing with each other. But the sad part is they don't do it to the ones who may not be, who you would want to take home to, visit your family, visit your mom. But I'm talking about the pretty ones, the one that's like, yo, you would definitely like to take her home, and meet the family. But seeing women on that caliber, I guess you could say, the stereotype model body, model shape body, coke bottle shape, that type of shit, you know, dudes, I seen niggas get upset and like literally come at them and say horrible things to them because they realize that no matter what they say, what game they spit, they'll never have a piece of that or get both of them. So, the ego and the pride shows up and says, hey, since I can't get this, fuck this bitch, or she this or she that, or she a buckethead or some shit, some bullshit. I'm like, disrespect the fact that she made a choice. That's, they made their choice. That's their choice to be with it. That's what makes them happy. Maybe as men, maybe they don't get the security that they would hope that they would get from a man, and maybe this other female who could relate to her gave her exactly what she wanted, exactly what she needed. So, I feel like there's nothing wrong with pursuing something that could be made for you. Who's to say that your soulmate can't be in a different vessel than, what comes out spiritually from any person? What up, Anthony? All right, Garrick says yes. City of brotherly love, Philly niggas. Damn. Yeah, I done worked up an appetite too, but I'm gonna eat me something good later on. Again, like I said, I'm really trying to put that out there for those who, for those of you tuning in my page or Andy Lee or YouTube. I would say, what do you think is going on out there that we could do better? I feel like we could set better examples as to who we are as individuals and show, you know, if we can't work as a community, then since we seem to be to ourselves, and how about we give the best representation of who we are as individuals and show that I've been inspired. Like I said, I try to let people know I'm not just relationship oriented or just about dating and stuff like that. I mean, I could be just as sexual explicit, or but I rather show people respect and the integrity of showing that, hey, look, I value your time, your space, and what you stand for and what you represent. You know, for however many long years you took to walk this earth to be who you are today, you spent time in history building that. And who am I to infringe and say, hey, look, I don't even want you for this. So therefore, if you can't fulfill this, then like, bye, see you. Like, why would I do this? I'm not dismissive. And rather than that, I rather only put the time in for only, people who would want to invest the same thing I'm going to invest. Garrick says, yeah, because that's lesbianism, though. The male gaze, not, it's a completely different when it comes to an AG or a butch lesbian. I'm gonna be honest. I would like for somebody to educate me about what lesbians and those particular females go through when it comes to I've been in this game for 19, almost 20 years, and I still don't understand a damn thing about them. I only say it like this because on the surface, and I guess you could say it's a little bit stereotypical, but I can only go by what I've experienced or been exposed to. For the most part, they come off to me like because they want to be so they want, and I'm talking about the AGs, the butch ones. They want to be dudes so much that once they figure out, like, thank you. Once they figure out that you're a dude and you like masculine dudes, they're automatically like, "Oh, you're my girlfriend or girl or sis." I'm like, no, I don't talk with that. Hey, again, that's to each his own. But everybody has their own critique as to how they fit or fulfilling that. Like I said, I never once entertained that idea of existing on that continuum. I don't knock other people for that, but my circle of people tend to not be about that life. But yeah, and then I don't really get along with fag hags because again, their mentality thinking that hey, if you like a guy like you, then you must be a girl. You must want to be a girl for a dude. I'm like, no, I'm a guy for a guy. The guys that want you to be a guy, I tend to be guys for them, and I enjoy being that because they allow me to naturally exhibit being what feels comfortable for me. I like to be a dude. I don't have to be one of those aggressive niggas that like, yo, I gotta have control, that I dictate this, that. Nah, I don't do that. Gary, that was pretty interesting. You know, with females, it's more of a mental issue. Yeah, but again, I'm trying to figure out the hierarchy and like why when they get around gay men, and not just that, like I would like to meet more bisexual females. 'Cause I believe bisexual female would be able to identify close to and see what I see when it comes to whether it's female with female or male with male. I believe that they would understand because I think bisexual period, male or female, we tend to understand that you know a girl is still a girl, a guy is still a guy. Garrick says, nah, they just masculine women, just how they're feminine men. Neither of us want to be the opposite sex. That's a whole other identity. But yes, I agree with that. But to treat them as such, like I said, a lot of lesbians and they dykes, I can't say that they are like that. I'm only talking about the ones who I've experienced being around so far. Um, they tend to want to take it to that level because I think it makes them feel more empowered or more closer to being a guy. And the only thing that could really do it is if I don't know, maybe you had a dick and we just didn't know. I hear you, Anthony. I hear you. But yeah, you just tuned in. But the topic tonight, I'm talking about within our community. It's about unity, brotherhood, perspective, perception, comfortability. Um, yeah, and it's funny because a lot of gay men tend to want those type of guys, but then there's gay men who do admire and want it from another gay man. And again, like I said, the way these continuums work is it's like it falls on like a spectrum. Some days you can be up here, down here, you can just be anywhere, and it's never, I wouldn't say it's not never consistent, but it's never on a point of where other people can identify because most people can't see themselves there. And it's not about seeing yourself there. We already know you can't see yourself there, but still try to consider the fact that other people see themselves there. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to, speculate and get off the table to help others understand about that. Hey, it's not for you, but it's never going to stop being for other people who find comfortability and they find solace there. The way I talk, the way I'm comfortable and strong right now, let's just say it again, I wouldn't have been this way if women were my only choice. But again, not all women are the same. Just like not all men are the same, and that's one thing I'm gonna always consistently say. And then there's a lot of points I could always come up with that I could say that women definitely have a good perspective on things mentally and spiritually composed to us as men. But that's not saying we can't get there or that we're not capable of those feats. But for the most parts, especially with the world that we created and we decided to live in, that's unfortunately the direction that it tends to go for most men. Not all, most of us. And no, it's nothing. It's not wrong that you prefer men who deal with females because maybe that's the closest of to a man in which you identify and which you consider a man for you. And there's nothing wrong for that because again, we all have our preferences. Is what it is. Like I said, to me, a man is still a man, regardless if he's masculine, hyper masculine, or he want to showcase his feminine traits. But again, I said that to say this. Again, I'm not trying to put the spotlight on me and make it about me, but um, from what most people can identify is like, how is it that a dude like you would like that? Like I said, and mind you, I like femininity, but only in women. And I'm not saying that men don't have feminine traits or qualities. It's just that that's not the reason why I would choose to be with a man because of that. You know, I'd rather, to me, my idea of a classic man is somebody who's athletic, play sports. You don't have to work out in the gym or have a gym body or be a gym rat. Just, be somebody who takes pride in being active and, proactive and wanting to do things, represent being the best form of you that you could be. I don't want you to walk around the block or walk up a flight of stairs and you be tired and you're like, oh, like, you got high blood pressure type shit. Like, nah. But somebody who takes pride in saying, "Hey, look, I like being active and keeping active." What they say, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. But it's just a shame that a lot of us aren't stepping out, from our hiding places to feel comfortable and embrace what we feel come natural to us. Now, I would say this: a lot of feminine guys tend to think that being openly out there and showcasing your finest, if you want to be a girl and let your hair down, like, hey, like, somebody else could do it in a different way. I'm saying that metaphorically, but it's like, why should I want to exhibit being free the way you choose to be free? Maybe my version of being free is good for me and my standards of what I feel, represents me. And like I said, if I would have haphazardly moved faster than what's necessary to, say this is what it takes or this is what it is for me in life, then I would be a train wreck right now. I ain't got time for that. I mean, there's so many other things I got to do, and I'm trying to preserve what I already have, what I was allowed to hold on to that I didn't allow the world to take from me. Like, I'm just not going to, go down that path. Like, childhood was definitely a big deal. And that was before, sex or adult situations came into play. Like, I was thinking about other aspects of life on an adult level that had nothing to do with like adult situations, responsibilities, etc. Just, the responsibilities in life. But it's just, hey, we all come a long way. Like I said, everybody has a story. And again, like, I really want to try to say, don't make anything just one, deal that like, yo, like, this is what it is for you. And then write it off for other people that other people can't have different perspective as to where they feel they fit. What up, Nkara? Mr. Conyers, okay. I should have you as a guest star on my show because you definitely have a lot of, perspective. And I'm talking about you, and I don't know if I said your name right, but I would say, you know who you are. You're a Scorpio. What up, Jaheem? And would I ever date older men? I have. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I haven't, but I would prefer somebody my age only so that we have a chance to grow. And from my experience, again, older men seem to think they seem to think that their experiences supersedes your experience. So it's like they're gonna shut down your experiences. We gotta live life according to what they've experienced, and they don't make room to grow. And then sometimes older people tend to be set in your ways, even though you can learn a great deal from older people. But only the older people who tend to be young at heart. And of course, if they wanted to deal with somebody young, they tend to mentally put themselves, they still think with their integrity and their right mind, obviously, but they know how to relate and be on that level because young people are their forte. Young people are what they want to appeal to. And hopefully, you don't want to come off as somebody who come off parental, because sometimes that's what happens with older people. They tend to be your parent instead of your equal. But yeah, and Kara, yeah, if you ever thought about it, let me know, man. You can hit me up later and let me know, and definitely. I mean, we can come up with a nice collaboration. Because again, from the time we've talked in the past, you always had a lot of interesting things to say that was very challenging, and you have a different perspective altogether than what I have on my own. And it'd be nice to have somebody to speculate and bring other ideals to the table that I haven't been quite able to do. What up, Latanya? All right, again, for those of you who just tuned in, right now, we're live. You can call us live. Our new number is 917-727-8020. Again, that number is 917-727-8020. Remember, our show is a dialogue, not a monologue. Let us hear your live input and comments. So again, if you want to comment about the topic that was being discussed today, I'd be more than happy to hear some of these feedbacks. All right, moving on. Like I said, what can we do? Like I said, my friend told me, he says he don't believe that we should have to do things or go out of our way to show people. And I believe it's not about showing people, but it's just about saying, as a Taurus, I believe this. You can have any perception that you want when it comes to thinking about me, and it can be wrong. My thing is, I'm not gonna go out of my way. I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm not gonna hold my breath to tell you you're wrong or show you where you could be wrong or point you in the right direction. I'm gonna, what they say, lead by example. I'm just gonna continue doing what I need to do, whether you're paying attention or not. And in time it was meant for you to see it, you'll see it. And people usually tell me this: why didn't you tell me this a long time ago? Da, da, da. You move this way. You this kind of person. I'm not in the interest in fighting for you to take your medicine right for you or to adhere to what somebody is or doing. So if you see it, you was meant to see when you decide to open your eyes to the truth and to other ideas other than your halfway way of thinking. All right, let me take a short break, a music break. This is BU and BU Nation. Again, I'm your host, Rockman, and this is DNAradio.net.
I was trying to get past all these notes to you.
Oh, really? Oh, yes.
You want to chip in?
Even though I'm not a Donald's fan, but I'm kind of hungry.
Same here. That's an old flyer, but it's an idea of what's what. You prefer a Pizza Hut, don't you?
Oh yeah, that's. But then now add some pounds to you, and that's not. I don't want you to hate me after you eat it. You're like, oh, this is so good. You know what, Rock? I hate you.
My guilt trip, right?
I mean, I did get you once though when we had the comfort zone open.
Oh yeah. Yum yum yum.
You remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw that stuff, I was so happy. I was like, yes, yes.
Yep. You guys brought out my youth at the zone. Hang out at the front desk.
No, you always had it. It's just somebody helped you reawaken it. Hey, Veronica, what's going on? What are you guys going to get?
When Will says he's not hungry, we just text Charles. I know I need something my dear too. Oh, no, I need something. I don't feel for no salad right now.
No, salad ain't gonna be filling. It's an appetizer. Like only time I get a salad is if I go to like a diner or a restaurant, and before my main meal comes, I'll order something like that, and then or another appetizer that's fattening and just good.
One record or two?
Two.
So in the future, you can cue me in advance if you want to go to a break.
I was thinking about that. I was like, wait, we're radio hosts and stuff like that. You know what? And mind you, I'm the type of person like usually when I start something, I could go through the very end like I got that kind of stamina. But
okay.
I mean, granted, my mental, my fortitude is in like I have so much reserve energy, so I'm good.
So when we come back, mention about how the quality sounds better on the radio here. Remind me.
Got you. I was thinking about a sandwich because I don't really want something too much. Because I like that the pasta bowl, but that's too much. If I get that, I'm gonna want to go to sleep. See, I think I'll get one of the sandwiches.
So put up the marketing. I'll make a phone call on that.
All right. What about that? Is there Western Union around here? Well, no, because somebody wants to send me something, and I need to get to a Western Union.
I went to that burger place. We went to that burger thing. Checkers in that area. We went up from church, walked down to Checkers.
I thought we went by Popeyes.
Popeyes the next block down.
All right.
St. Nicholas. Oh yeah, you're right. Checkers is on up. Yeah. So
Checkers is on 135th and St. Nick.
Yes, we passed it. So but the West Union is on President Douglas. So it's in that area. You check your locations in that area.
Okay. I marked down the sandwich.
You know, you're still on social media live.
Yo, on my page and stuff, yeah.
That's all you know when we talk.
We talking about food. Yeah, I'm a Taurus, definitely, Calvin. How you knew that? I mean, I think I did say that in the beginning of the show too.
You have used Gas App to PayPal?
I have. I just got to use the Cash App, but I just downloaded. I don't know how to use it though.
You know how to use Cash App?
No, I just put it on.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's even better than almost you. They have Cash App. They send it to you. It goes right into your account. Only thing they charge you, like this actually, what they send the difference on what they send you.
But of course, when it comes to dealing with money and stuff, they never make this process simple.
So when we come back live, I'll go back and make
Got you.
Sure, Wiz.
Yeah, I'm good.
I ain't starting off at the beginning of the month eating junk, but that's thing I eat, right?
But Checkers, they have specials in it. They have an update special.
They want to have. We got all these computers, but I can't use none of the computers.
They have the,
Yeah, I usually ask what's on special.
Oh snap! November. Oh wow. Somebody November Sagittarius. So tell me something, Mr. Calvin. You know, you're the second Calvin I met. That's a Sagittarius. That says something.
You have a lot of space above your head on your phone.
Hmm.
You gotta make it give it all that space.
Yeah. A lot of you Sagittarians, I think y'all good in like business propositions and like doing things and you know leading people when it comes to like working in business. But I don't know. Intimate, it's like it's hard. It's hard.
We at DNAradio.net are your uplift and inspire our listeners only. One of the ways we do this is by having thought-provoking, meaningful conversations. We understand and appreciate passion and discussion. Therefore, we respectfully ask everyone to be mindful of what you say and how you
September Libras. Uh oh.
That's right.
All right, we back. We back. All right. Just had to take a quick radio break. Again, I'll give you guys a friendly reminder. Our show's audio and sound quality is much clearer and sound much better if you tune into us on the radio right now at DNAradio.net. That's DNAradio.net, all around the world. What up, Sharon? All right, so Gary, tell me something. What's up with September Libras? I mean, I know a thing about Libras because Libras share the planet of Venus like Taurus do. So I know that aspect about you guys, and I've dated you guys a few times. Some of my good friends are Libras, by the way. All right, Calvin says there's a big difference between a November Sagittarius and December. I already know that. My brother's a December Sagittarius, and I've dated a December Sagittarius. It was pure hell on wheels. That's not saying that you guys aren't good people. It's just that it's tough when you have strong trying to dominate the strong when the other strong isn't really trying to be dominating, just exists. And unfortunately, when you have certain people that have certain qualities and promises about being something that the other isn't, I tend to find that people who lead by their pride or they got that what's the other word I'm looking for? I don't want to say arrogance. I want to say basically they have such a belief in themselves that they don't see the error their ways of where they actually could be wrong. They don't make room for error, and they tend to be a different type of perfectionist that Virgo is. And by hands down, Virgos are the worst type of perfectionists when it comes to being perfectionists. Um, but yeah, I ain't gonna say too much because then I don't want to hurt some of my Sagittarian friends who are good friends. It's just that I just think for me personally, dating a Sagittarian will definitely won't. I won't be making a return trip for that. I'll probably date a female Sagittarian before I date another male. I don't know. Female Sagittarians seem to be a little bit more easier going. They're not as rough around the edges. They tough. They strong, but they I don't know. It seems like they seem more supportive towards being with somebody versus the male part. Oh no, you guys are, but romantically y'all don't. Yeah, y'all don't take responsibility for where y'all was wrong with something. And the only time you may admit to when you're wrong about something is when too much is too much and you have to let something in. Yeah, no, Libras make things clear, but sometimes you Libras could be a little manipulative. I guess that depends on the month too. But no, I would say one thing I exhibit and I liked about Libras. You guys know how to push people and motivate them to do things that they didn't believe they could do first off. Then when you're doing it, you're like, wait, I was able to do this all this time, and you just didn't realize it. No, they're good motivators to, somebody like me when motivation is hard. Like I'm determined, but once I start something and I see it and I get momentum, there's no stopping me. But getting me to start, that's the trick. I mean, I am a bull, but hey, I mean, I'm not too rigid and stubborn where I don't listen to reason. But again, the subject for this uh, show today is unity, brotherhood, perspective, perception, and comfortability. Like I said, as I stated earlier, it wasn't easy for me to get to this level of being comfortable with myself, being comfortable with my sexuality, my sexual orientation, and where I feel like I fit on the perspective. I just feel like, yo, I just got tired of, yeah, you guys do definitely see the best in things, providing again that you're not on your ego trip or trying to control things. um, yeah, I just got tired of, like I said, hiding in the shadows and dealing with something that didn't represent me. So I figured I just wanted to step out and hopefully be a good example for other people. Not saying that they have to step out and do what I do, but basically, just like I said, be you. Be you was something I came up with before I was asked to speak on the radio like this, and I just said it, and it just came, and it just made sense. Like, why not just be you? Like, it is hurtful and painful to see how other people cannot live up to their own expectations of what they expect out of themselves and what they want out of life. Um, yeah, no, Libras, y'all do have egos, but I think Scorpios are a lot worse than you guys, and it's ironic that Scorpios come right after you guys. No, one thing that makes you guys balance is because of your celestial, not the celestial body. The celestial body is Venus, the planet, but I'm talking about the construct, the celestial construct, the scales. That's what saves you guys, because you not only can you guys argue both sides of a argument or a point, but y'all see the perspective on different things. Y'all can see the positive and the negatives of certain things, and you have clarity to see different aspects. And just composed to somebody like me who could only see one thing, and when I make my mindset, that's it. And I try to make it so it's set when it's based on facts. But if it's not facts, it's like opinion and stuff like that. I tend to be fixed, because Taurus is we're fixed. No, Scorpios aren't that bad either. Scorpios have their gifts and qualities and talents no different than the rest of us. It's just that unfortunately, depending on who you are, we tend to notice the negative traits and qualities because that's not what we want from a human. But then to me, I find that anybody can have those traits. One trait I know that's I won't say complimentary, but definitely unique between Scorpios and Tauruses is they say that we can, and I stress the emphasis in the word can, very much. We can be possessive. We can doesn't mean we are. There's a difference. I have too much pride and self worth to resort to being the negative parts of those things. Let's just say that. Garrett says they're huge ego, overly sensitive, and vindictive. But then Leos and Libras can be very vindictive people if you push the right buttons. Like I said, they can be. They can be doesn't mean they are. Remember, we also individuals, and you know, you might be different than most Libras. You might be different than most Sagittarius. You might be different than most Tauruses or Aries and Virgos. There's always going to be someone amongst the bunch that's going to do the exact opposite or won't fall in the same continuum that a vast majority of us tend to do. Like I take pride in saying, hey, for the most part, I can get surface things based on who you are on your sign, but the deeper, more meaningful things, I got to actually spend time and do my homework and see who you are as an individual. You know, the individuality part of that plays a major role as well. So you add that, then you get what you're dealing with. Like they say, what you get is what you see. What you see is what you get. But again, what's some of your perspectives on perception? When you see certain people and somebody rubs you the wrong way, do you see them in a sense of what they were? Do you see them as an individual, or do you see them as a person that made a choice and they just weren't aesthetically pleasing towards, I guess, your endeavors or how you critique and how you see life? You know, I've met quite a few overly sensitive people, who take offense to almost every little thing down to even your body language, and you don't have to mean offense by that. But again, some people critique, and they just take offense to things that's beyond their understanding. And that's at the end of the day, that's what perspective is. It's about a way of understanding. Sometimes perspectives could be on the low end of the totem, or it could be on the high end where it's too much. Like too much of anything is a bad thing for you. And people tend to be on the extreme of some of these things. Gary, he says, absolutely. You can tell everything based of one sun sign. You got to take a look at the full star chart and ask the tarot cards. For those of us who go there and believe in that, yeah, and I also believe in the numbers too, like the day you was born, the number. I kind of look at numerology a little bit, no different than we use numbers to tell time, or the number of days in a month, or the number of weeks, or within a year. Like I've learned that there's 52 weeks in the whole entire year. So out of 365 days, when it takes the Earth 365 days to make one revolution around the sun, it takes the Earth 24 hours, roughly 23 hours and some change, to make a full rotation in order for one day, for night to day, to occur. But I feel like if we could use celestial stars and maps to chart our seas and stuff, and understanding satellite positions, like why is it so difficult to believe in? I want to say astrology, but the zodiology part of astrology. Different perspectives, different personality types, different characteristics and traits. Different in the seasons. We dictated that every season roughly is about 3 months. Winter has 3 months, summer has 3 months, fall has 3 months, spring has 3 months. And within those 3 months, we dictated that such and such happens within that time. So why can't it be the same when it comes to certain people who are born in certain sectors of certain seasons or certain times of the year where things are associated, like in springtime, flowers grow and bloom, animals, reproduce and populate, to get ready for summer because the weather's nice. It's waking up from its wintertime slumber. Again, that's just me talking about, earth philosophical nonsense about the season we all know, what happens, year in and year out. But I just find it shocking how other people can't, draw what up, Henry? Draw the conclusion about we use, the stars for everything. Like I said, again, to tell time and stuff. Like, how do we know it's 7:59 or 8 o'clock at night or in the evening? How do we know it's not 8 o'clock in the morning? But yes, when are we going to get together and understand? And again, I'm saying for us in our community first, and I think it's going to catch on. It either will or it won't. But I rather live the truth. Even if society or heterosexual people don't see it for what it is, maybe it wasn't meant for them to see, not just because of their choice, maybe because that's just naturally just they just. I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but I believe we would have a different result if people took the time to understand things that's beyond their comprehension of understanding without actually sticking their hand in the jar. And I say do that because who knows? Maybe your friend, maybe your sister, your mother, your father, or anybody from your friend or your family members. It could be about that. And what better way to understand what they're going through and what life is for them by not educating yourself for what actually really goes on. There's a lot of struggles and hardships, unnecessary hardships that exist within our community. And I would hope that the next, young man or a young female coming up into this don't have to deal with half the shit I've dealt with from what I've seen. Whether I exposed myself to it or it was found its way to me somehow. Like I would like to give, the next young man or woman the strength to say that, hey, you can not only can you make better choices and decisions, but you don't have to go through unnecessary things to learn something that comes at a price that you're not really willing to pay. If you knew the truth of what it was and what it entailed and details before you actually indulge or invested yourself, I think you would have a better chance of making better choices. And that's what life is about: learning how to make better choices. Again, that's just my opinion. From my perspective, I just want to arm people with the ability. And I said this to a friend the other day too. I actually became not just a man, and no, I'm not a father yet, but what I wanted as a child, I realized I became that very person that I wanted life to provide for me, to help guide me, to help mold me, to help educate me, to help learn me, you know. And now for anybody else who's looking for that, I realize I could be that for them as well. And that's what I'm hoping that I could do in the future for anybody who decides to, hey, they want to learn something from me. But again, you can call us live. Our number is 917-727-8020. Again, that number is 917-727-8020. Remember, our show is a dialogue, not a monologue. Let us hear your live input and comments. Again, I just want to take the time to tell you out there in Radio Land, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Definitely want to say thank you for tuning in. For all the times, you showed us some support. I feel like the best support I could really get from you guys is if I say something that resonates with you, that speaks to you, definitely let us hear your perspective. I want to hear your voice, your intake about how you feel about it. And not just that, I want to be able to put it on the air so that other people can understand that there's different ideals and different wavelengths or ways of thinking that we all, show that your brand of person exists, and who knows, your voice may be the voice that that young woman or that young man wants to hear because you solely resonate with what that person is going through in their life or what they identify as. And you're that representation or that hope that would make them feel like, hey, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Is this what I want? You would better help them embrace that this is what I want to do. And I want to take the time to give a special shout out, thank you to my nephew. And you know who you are. I'm gonna say it like this: my nephew Dante. He gave me the inspiration and the courage to be more of me of who I am right now, right this very second. Like again, I wasn't as comfortable with my sexuality and my sexual orientation because of, like I said, the stigma and the stereotype attached to it. So I said if he was able to exist and do it freely, then why can't I do it? But I did it on a way that spoke about who I am. So when people who took the time to know who I am, what I represent, what I stand up for, the life I live, they have a better understanding as to how I fit and say, hey, look, especially those who see me grow, they would have a better clarity as to what I represent, and I appreciate them for that. They're gonna make me be more strong and more resilient to continue, being that, that beacon of hope that, hey, I could borrow strength from this man, and you know. But anyway, again, what do you think we could do better as a community to better our agenda for same gender and for us to have the right to exist and other people to respect it in a sense of, again, it may not be for you, but let it be for somebody else who pursue that, who find their way about it. For whatever reason, we decide to you be a woman who finds other women attractive, or a man and he finds other men attractive, you know, encourage that person to pursue the type of thing that they want. Because who knows, them pursuing their life agenda and their goal, again, and especially for the heterosexual men who may feel like, oh my God, like, fuck out of here with this gay shit. Like, I guarantee if two people found their ways, when you see them, even whether you, especially you see them, by themselves, that person has somebody that represents them in life and the meaning of the search. That search can stop, so they don't have to worry about anything else. Pretty much, they have blockers, they have blinders on. They're not worried about anybody else because they found what was hard in life to find. Somebody, I want to say, who completes them in the sense like, oh, you need to be with somebody. No, somebody who completes them in the sense of they could find satisfaction within another individual to share a journey with, and somebody who actually gets them, somebody who wants to spend time, somebody who celebrates them, someone who looks forward and actually are thrilled by the satisfaction of seeing you. Like, I know, like, yeah, literally, I feel like I won the damn lotto when the person who I have an interest in has a similar interest in me, and they're actually excited to see me and want to spend time with me. That's like, there's no better joy in life but that, especially when it comes from another person. And I find the next best joy is someone who actually really wants to spend the time to cultivate and be something. I'm not talking about love and romance. I'm talking about just initially wanting to be with somebody. You got to spend time with somebody before you actually know who they are, rather than have the whole world be my fan base and, like, show me accolades and get try to be with me, or basically those type of people would that type of dedication and devotion goes but so far, because they may not truly have your best interest in heart and mind, and they just may be interested in just one aspect of you. And I would definitely want to encourage people to be careful of who you receive compliments from. People who say that they want to feed into you for certain things or invest in you. How true is their conviction to want to invest in what you truly stand for? Are they really there for the right reasons, or they have other agendas? You know, always consider that. And of course, don't let nobody lower you from where you feel you're most comfortable at. Because nobody has the right to tell you how you should feel. Nobody has the right to tell you where you should exist and what you should think about, what should be your priority for you as a person. Because only you can be you. Nobody else can be you but you. So don't let nobody tell you who you should be or where you should be standing at. But anyway, again, um, how comfortable are you? I believe a lot of us, again, whether we're in the closet or down low, or we're just secretive, and it's no different than I feel like, and I'm gonna use me as an example. I feel like even if I was still completely heterosexual, like depending on how I feel and depending on who I'm with, like if I'm chilling and kicking with old girl, like yo, like most people, unless they're like my close friends or family members, they wouldn't even know that like I have a girlfriend, or I have a shorty. Like why? I feel like unless we're established and we have a strong bond where we could have something to show for it when we invest, I feel like you know my sex and my love life is like on a need to know basis. Like it's nothing special that should be advertised or broadcast, but at the end of the day, I'm not going my way to hide it either. I feel about my sexual agenda, my how I express myself. Let's just say this: if somebody really wants to get into my head and my mind and know how I feel about just sexuality, period. Uh, you can visit my Tumblr page. I'm not going to give my name for it, but it's self-explanatory. My Tumblr page is basically my way of expressing my sexual expression that I can't exhibit, whether even if I go out there looking for it, I don't always find somebody who takes me to that level that I can exist, or even be some of the fantasies that people fantasize about me. But again, I really want to get this agenda off the table about what can we do to better closely celebrate and share when it comes to this unity or brotherhood. Oh my God, my man. What was it? I forgot what item I'm just gonna say. My man, Mr. Edwards. I'm so happy to see you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Um, the topic that I was talking about today was unity, brotherhood, perspective, perception, and comfortability. Some of the things I said about earlier was basically about how comfortable you with your sexuality, your sexual orientation, the difference between why most people in society, namely the heterosexuals, would celebrate, you know, women with women more so, two men dealing with each other. And I also expressed the hatred of how certain men could feel that type of hatred with when two women find each other, physically, sexually, mentally attractive, and unfortunately, a man is not a part of the equation. We feel some kind of way. And I was just poking fun at how is it so funny that in one breath they could like it if two women are doing it, but if two men, they're totally disgusted by it. I mean, that's fine. They just don't, you know. But you should never down somebody just because that's their choice and it's not your choice. It's not your choice. That's understand because it's not for everybody. But don't try to talk about it and downgrade it or downplay it to the point where that person may feel like is this wrong? Should I be doing this? Like nobody should want to question if that's the right or wrong move for them and stuff like that. Especially if it comes naturally. You know, I feel like for me, I had a taste of all three. It was natural, it was taught, and circumstances. Because again, if I have to settle for women, then guess what? I'm the type of dude that'll be a dog. I have to have three, four, five women to make up for what that one woman is never going to have for me. To at least be focused and do the work and actually apply myself. I feel like if I'm going to apply myself for anybody, male or female, if you're not on a certain level, then why ask that for me? Why ask me to live at my best if you're not giving me the reason to want to be my best for you? A lot of people don't take that into consideration, but it's the truth. But yeah, Dexter, let me know how everything is, man, because I definitely been wanting to stop by to say, hey, say what's up to the fellas. I definitely miss you guys over there. You know, some of you guys who was halfway decent and showed that you were human beings first before you were gay men. And I'm gonna talk about a topic like that on a different segment, or different, on a different day, not today. But yeah, I believe the reason why most heterosexual people in society see us in the same gender loving or the LGBTQ community as that because we tend to display some of the more, how would I say, lackluster or the negative traits of, the negative face of homosexuality that doesn't represent us all as a whole, as a group, as a community. But unfortunately, the stereotype and the stigma attached to it is what it represents, and it's just sad. And I'm trying to help erase that. I'm trying to at least, put a nice dent in it, so it can challenge people to think beyond of what was allotted to you, what you have on your own, or what was taught to you about the homosexual agenda, same gender lovers, or people who's interested in the same gender or sex. Again, we're human beings, and love is something that's beautiful and unique, and in the sense that we all deserve it, regardless of how we perceive it or how we pursue it. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be monotone. It's diverse. It's growing. It's what they say is evolution, and it's a wonderful thing if two people who are doing it the correct way find each other and they're on the same page to make it so that it could be self-perpetuating. One hand wash the other, both hands wash the face. Again, seeing two people join together in natural, whether it's two men, two women, or traditionally heteronormative, a man and a woman, seeing people who took the time and the liberty to know each other and build a history, to me, there's nothing more exciting than to see two people who actually could truly share a connection.
You said something about heteronormative?
Yeah. Heteronormative. Basically, the guy has to chase the girl, and the guy has to be the one who represents what, think about in marriage. When you get married, the woman takes the guy's last name. The guy is the head of the household, meaning that when they hear about it, they're going to hear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because they're not going to take her name. But, think about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day tends to cater for women more so than it does for us as men. And I'm not trying to.
It's all about the mighty dollar.
Of course,
They don't care nothing about women.
No, but think about it. When they show an advertisement, when they show every kiss begins with K, what is it? The man is on his knees proposing to her. Why does she get the diamond? Why can't she get on her knees and give me the diamond?
Exactly. I've always felt that way when it came to traditions. You know what I'm saying? It's like I used to say when I was in my early teens, why is it okay for two women to kiss in public, embracing each other,
holding hands and skipping along?
And why can't two men do it? I've always asked that question at age 11, 12, 13. Why? So you say heteronormative. Say it again,
Heteronormative.
Now, why not homonormative?
Well, then again, where is there? I don't believe that. I mean, it is a nice thing in the word, but I don't think such a thing exists. Only because if you think about it, where's there a template or a rule book that says who we are as same gender lovers, that we have to follow a guideline or a protocol to exist in this realm?
Maybe we need to write the book.
Hey, I wouldn't mind writing a book. What up, Anthony?
A lot of the conversations you're having, that should be a book, in my opinion.
No, absolutely, and I wouldn't mind making installments to it. I mean, but then I wouldn't mind getting a panel of people with different perspectives too, because other people's perspectives, for me, is edifying. I like to have that because then I could use it or I could change it to better, suit the people who wants to hear and listen, who's seeking to get that type of information.
I wonder if our well-educated son man. I wonder, has he written any books, or he's just a good reader of books?
You know what? That I think what you just said described the latter of the two. Yeah, maybe he's a good reader of books.
So maybe people like us, just regular guys, we need to write the books and market it and sell it. Yeah. But I'm serious. I have the outlet. I mean, of course, it can be done. You just need the talented people to write the book. I'm not a writer per se, but I do know how to sell stuff.
But you would be a part of that. Yes, you would. Yes, you definitely would. I mean, you would have to be with your level of intelligence and the fact that you. I would rather hear your political aspect or intake over compared or composed to other people in their political agenda and stuff. And especially Mr. Sunman, his political agenda would just turn this upside down on his head and his face, and it would go in the wrong direction than where we want it to go.
So do you have people who like to participate in this panel?
I'm sure I could talk to a few like-minded individuals or other people who maybe not share the same mind, but they have similar perspectives. And again, I highly value them based on their, not just their opinion, but their level of intelligence. But yeah, I think I could talk to a few of them, and we could definitely get something started.
just to digress a little bit, do you think it's possible to have guys who are on the down to participate in a panel like this without showing their face or identifying them, but to have them participate in a forum such as this where we can hear their point of view, as opposed to, like you stated earlier, the white media only shows one side of homosexuality, LGBTQ community, same-sex other community. Will the download guys or the guys like yourself and myself who are not download but mastering, is there a way to pull these people together into a forum to discuss conversations like this?
For the most part, you would have to network to kind of talk to them, and definitely one-on-one. If you do that, I'm sure some individual wouldn't mind giving their little, their perspective as to how they feel, especially without, how would I say, identifying themselves or outing themselves. Like, I don't feel like what I'm doing is outing myself. I feel like what I'm doing is taking charge, and instead of letting people tell me what they identify me as or what they see me as, I decided to say, no, this is who I am.
Exactly. Because they say history is his story.
Yes,
So
I like that.
Well, I didn't coin that phrase. I didn't make it up. I've heard it many times on Gary Bird, WBLS. Okay. 1 second. So anyway, we need to be the one who tells his story about our same gender loving community, and not let other people tell us who and what we are.
Yeah, and I would be more than happy to be the voice of some of these individuals who don't, have it like that or have the strength or the courage. And again, it's really not about having strength or the courage. It's really about just saying, hey, look, I'm fed up with this shit. I'm fed up with people telling me what they think it is because that's what it means to them. And again, that doesn't represent me. I'm sad to say that just because that might be other people's fear, that if that was my fear, do you think I would be sitting here right now? And I couldn't let it. Like I said, especially the poison that somebody told me about homosexuality. And then when I saw and I found my own way down there, I said, wait, what was told to me? This wasn't the truth. They told me something, and I don't have no desire to be any of this shit that was told to me. I'm like, what the fuck? So now, what I have now, not only am I at a crossroad of what was told to me that was wrong, now I have to find a way to pave the road to say, what represents me? Where do I fit on this thing? Now I got to find a way to see where, not just where I identify, but see, where do I fit here? All right, we got Charms in the building. All right, and we got about 10 more minutes. Anybody got any more comments, concerns? But stay tuned because Love and Lust will begin very shortly. But yeah, like I said, I just got tired of living in the shadows and letting other people do the groundwork and identify, say what's supposed to represent me, just because, I'm a sapiosexual, I'm a demisexual, I'm bisexual, I like men and women. I find men and women attractive, and any one of them at any given time could be somebody who I could share life with. What up, Angel? Mr. Bayaz. What's going on, boy? Oh man, so many good people I haven't seen, and I definitely, like I said, want to give so many special thanks and shout outs to all my brothers out there. I hope everybody had a productive summer, whether it was Labor Day weekend. What else? Oh yeah, June was our gay pride in New York City, and of course there's more coming along. But again, I would say I would like for people in our community to look at me as a friend, somebody who I represent things. I might not serve any particular faction, but I do believe in the equality and unity, the brotherhood of people living life and enjoying life, and what identifies for you to live your life the way you want to live. You know, I'm definitely supporting people for their individuality, for their creativity, their courage of what they feel represents themselves. And I implore other people to take liberty to be yourself, be you, because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to represent you but you. And you do yourself a disservice of not representing you to the best of your ability, the best of your knowledge of, again, who you are, because you got to show the world that you exist. It's important. It's very important. And I'm going to continue to fight to show people I'm my own person. I don't abide by any particular rules, or like I said, I don't follow any particular trend or, fashion or nothing like that. Like, I enjoy that hey, if I had to spend my life living in other people's shadows and not, doing things based on my merit to see where I can be strong in things versus where I'm actually weak and need improvement, like, at least what did Whitney say? At least she's living in her belief. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you have at the end of the day. Like I said, to be you. So I'm not gonna allow the world to take me from me. You know. In fact, the best thing I could do for the world is share as much as I can of who I am with other people. And the only thing I really want to share is my strength. I don't mind sharing my wisdom and my experience, but at the end of the day, only I could turn my experiences is to what I turned so far and showcase the world. And hopefully, whatever everybody else gets from my experience, they could transform it to be something that helps them in their life or maybe help other people that they choose to want to help. But again, stay tuned for Love and Lust. No, I'm sorry, Venus versus Mars. Wow. Don't tell Charles I screwed up the show. Um, all right. This is the new schedule for our show. Our live Saturday shows are as follows. We have from 12 a.m. to just be like this. All right. All right. At 4 p.m. we have Food, Film, and More, starring Damien, also known as D. Then we have Love and Lust from 5 to 6:30, starring Red Spice, featuring our co-host and our loving star, Wiz.
What up?
Then we have BU with your boy Rockman, your host. What up, Trevor? Trevor, what up, my man? This is BU and BU Nation, starring your boy Rockman. Then we have, well, that's at 6:30 to 8:30. Then at 8:30, which will be shortly, we're gonna have Venus versus Mars with our hosts, Wiz and Charms. Charms is in the building. Then we have. Yeah, check out the shirt. This is that. This
Sketch right here.
show in the back. Yes, I can't wait for my name to be like that. Then we have the independent playlist starring Miles and guests from 10 to 12 midnight. Again, tune into our shows every Saturday. And we have 24/7 basically. Then Sundays is our gospel. Also, listen to our 24-hour, speaking of gospel station, JesusOnlyRadio.com, all day, every day, 24/7. Yes, 365 days, 24 hours, commercial free. No commercials and no infomercials. Just JesusOnlyRadio.com. But yes, again, I enjoy myself whenever I come up on here and I talk, whether I'm here at the studio or sometimes I might do a little live when I'm out and about, if I'm inspired. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy sharing some of the things. What up, Leon? My brother. Oh, we got another Scorpio in the building. And be careful. Leon is a very powerful name. That's all I can say. Um, but yeah.
I just put it.
Mhm.
What were today's topics again, real quick?
All right, we're talking about unity, brotherhood, perspectives, perception, comfortability, and compatibility.
Interesting.
Yes, I was basically trying to kind of unify certain ideals and hoping that people kind of step outside of themselves and learn how to cope and share their ideas and give other people the spotlight, other ideas and how people live in their lives within our community, same gender loving or LGBTQ, that we all share this. So why not embrace the idea that just because somebody chooses to represent themselves differently, that doesn't mean they should be loved any more or any less than what's out there. Embrace the fact that other people have different prospects of how they represent wanting to share a woman loving another woman or a man loving another man.
Could you read that opening as the closing for tonight?
All righty. All right. In my closing, I'm going to tell you DNAradio.net presents BU and BU Nation with your host, Rockman, every Saturday from 6:30 to 7:30. Well, 6:30 to 8:30, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, from 6:30 to 8:30. I'm sorry. BU is a live interactive radio program for our brothers and sisters within the same gender loving or the LGBTQ community. Be you and always be true to yourself. To be true to yourself takes courage. It requires you to be introspective, sincere, open minded, and fair. It does not mean that you are inconsiderate or disrespectful of others. It means that you will not let others define you or make decisions for you that you should make for yourself. BU on DNAradio.net is a radio program to help support and uplift our brothers and sisters within our same gender loving community and our download communities. We are not we are human beings who have a life, not a so-called lifestyle. What up, Jonathan? BU is not a radio program that gives away any of our same gender loving or download intimate secrets within our community or anything of that nature. So please understand, we at BU are not trying to be a so-called superhead or tell-all program. Furthermore, you BU is not a gossip type of program such as TMZ, Page Six, or Wendy Williams, etc. We, the BU and BUNation.net staff, team, and family come to you with love, peace, and support. Again, I'm your host, Rockman.
Any closing shout outs?
All right. Again, thank you, fellas and ladies, for tuning in. Tune in next week again. We'll be back here at the same time, 6:30. And again, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday night. Do something fun.
Yeah. Check the body side under the plate. See if I put it under the plate. So I have the two left last. One and the two